Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Namofsky. On today's episode, we're discussing empowering yourself to make the hard choices in life. So I want to ask you right now, when you came to Canada, you were in an abusive marriage and you were so young. You were 17 years old. What was the first hint that your marriage was not going to turn out well for you?
I think I knew it right from the start. I knew it right away because um, the inability to go to school, being in a strange country, especially when I was told by his parents that I shouldn't be dreaming about school anymore, even though that's what was promised to me. I knew it right away that this is not going to work unless I completely give up on my independence, my authenticity, my dreams and goals. And I did try for a while to fit into that box that was designed for me, the box of a good wife, hence the name of my book. And no matter how much I tried, there was a voice inside me that kept saying, no, this doesn't feel right. And if I don't respect my dreams, then who will? So even when there was no hope of ever being able to go to school, I would stand in front of a mirror and I would practice my graduation speech to keep that hope going. And when as I progressed through the marriage and the abuse became worse and worse, and I learned about my rights as a woman, as a human being, as a Canadian, I started to realize that I need to leave. It still took me a while. And I think that final motivation for me was realizing that I don't want my daughters to grow up thinking this is normal. And I need to break the cycle for them. That's what gave me that final push.
So deciding to pursue your own ambitions for independence, it's huge. And most women don't have the courage to do so. What gave you the courage and what empowered you to take the steps towards freedom? Because there's a point in your book where your mother-in-law says, if you were to leave, the government would give your daughter to your husband since you have no education and no money.
Yeah. So I'll answer this in a bit of in a reverse order. First of all, yes, I was told those messages. Not only would I lose my kids, I would be deported because my ex-husband sponsored me to Canada. I would be out on the streets. I would not be able to work because I did not even have a high school diploma when I got married and I came here. So there were a lot of these barriers and fears, which meant there was a lot of darkness in my world at that time. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is, I am afraid. I am terrified. I know that. I accept that. And I'm still going to move forward and do something that I believe in my heart that is right. That's what courage is. And when we think about when you say, oh, some people don't have the courage, I actually disagree with that. I think we all do have the ability to build courage. It is not an ingredient or some secret thing that some of us have and don't have. Some of us are born with and not born with. Courage is built through those incremental moments of choices. When you are faced with a choice of accepting the darkness as status quo or leaning in towards a ray of hope, a ray of light that is a tiny step forward. It could be something inconsequential. For me, that first step, I think, to independence happened, a year into my marriage when I ordered my very first online course for my high school diploma. It was a grade 11 or grade 12, I think, English for you or something like that through the Independent Learning Center. And all day I would take care of him and his parents and my baby, and I would go into my room at night and I would study. And that one little step in that moment was the first building block of that courage. And then more steps later and later. And as I call it, like going to the gym for your emotional muscle. Yeah. So you start with a tiny step, and then next time there's a little bit of a bigger step that becomes a bit easier. Just like as you build your muscle, you can lift more weights. So over time, that's what builds courage. And we all have the ability to do that. And it's not built in these grand moments of leaving an arranged marriage or going to university or any of that. It's built in those little choices that we make when we are afraid and we still choose to go forward with one tiny step.
It's amazing that you talk about courage because you're right. We all have it. It's trying to take the next steps. And fear will give you courage. It depends on how fearful you are. When we come back from the commercial break, I want to talk to you about, we talked about courage, But I want to talk to you about what empowerment means to you, because it's very different for everyone else. And clearly the show is called Empowered. It's all about empowering women. And I want to know exactly how you feel about it. So please don't go away. We will be right back with more.